morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, I want to take a moment and talk about 5 tips for handling change when you also have ADHD, because we know change is a normal, consistent part of life. But for many people, so is ADHD a normal and consistent part of life. So today, we're combining the two and talk about 5 tips for handling change when you have ADHD. But before I get into that, I want to take a quick moment and say, if you are subscribed, thank you so much for being a part of our awesome world. If you're not yet subscribed, please take a moment and click the subscribe button below so that you can join our world of awesomeness. And remember to tick the bell so that you are notified when I post new videos so you don't miss anything. And of course, if you'd like to purchase 1 or 3 of my books, there's also a link below that will take you to a site that shows you your different options of places where you could get 1 or 3 of my books. Okay. Let me get to it. First, accept that change is difficult. Change is not difficult because you have ADHD. Change is not difficult because you can't handle change. Change is difficult because change is difficult for all of us, regardless of what else you have going on. For most of us, maybe I shouldn't just say all of us, but for most of us, change is difficult. Over time, we figure out ways, we develop tools and skills to help us manage change, but change is difficult. So accept that. Society, in a lot of ways, continues to make people with ADHD feel that it is them, it is something about them, it is something that is wrong with them that makes certain situations worse. No, change is not easy for I don't think any of us. We all have difficulty with it. We all have to put together resources and tools and systems to help us manage. So accept that change is difficult. It's not difficult because you have ADHD. It's just change is difficult, period. 2, take time to explore and digest the change. New situations require a little bit of a study time, a little bit of a get to know you period. But more often than not, people don't take that time to realize, to study, to explore, to digest the change that has taken place. We have this, let's jump in and fix it. Let's jump in and deal with it. In order to be more efficient, in order to be more effective in adapting to change, sometimes it's important to take the time and just sit back and explore and digest and really take in the change and notice what has changed and notice what the new situation is. Get to know the new situation before you can start really fully getting in there and doing whatever it is that you need to do when working with it and working within that change. Take a moment, explore, digest, sit with it, get to know the new situation, get to know the change. 3, modify and incorporate what has worked. Anytime you have a new situation, there will be change. There will be things that are different. There will be things that you have not faced before. But a lot of times there will also be things, resources, tools, people, situations that have worked in the past that can continue to work in the new situation. So it's important to take the time and modify systems and resources and tools that you have used successfully in the past that have helped you manage either change or consistent things that have been in existence in your life, things that have worked for you. Take the time and see how you can modify those things. Take the time and see how those things can be incorporated into your new situation, into this change. One example would be things like at work or at school. What systems did you have in place that helped you work in your previous situation that you can take into this new change situation with you? 4, ask for accommodations that you may need. People, when you don't ask, you don't get. A lot of times people assume that no one's going to agree to that. You don't know that they're going to agree to that until you ask. A lot of times society makes you feel like, hey, because you have ADHD, you have all these issues. It's all about your ADHD, your ADHD, your ADHD. No. You can do and have done and have been successful in doing a lot of things. But sometimes because of ADHD, people do things differently. They do them just as well or even better, but they do them differently than a person who may not have ADHD. And because of that, because you know you have ADHD, sometimes you may require accommodations. But that does not mean that people who don't have ADHD don't require accommodations too. It's just that society has made it feel more like it's a burden when you're asking for accommodation. But a person who does not have ADHD feels, I have the right to ask for this accommodation. So a lot of times, many people who may need the accommodation, many people who have, whether it's ADHD or something else that leads you to need to do things a little bit differently, that may lead you to need a certain accommodation. Now, society makes it feel like because you have this issue, you have a problem. No, you don't have a problem. Society just needs to get with the program. So ask for any accommodations that you may need. Maybe you'll get them, maybe you won't, but until you ask, you don't know. Finally, give yourself some grace. Like I said at the very beginning, change is difficult. It's difficult on most of us, if not all of us. Give yourself some grace. It doesn't happen overnight. There's not a switch that you're flipping. As you're adapting to change, as you're adjusting to change, give yourself some grace. Give yourself the grace that you would give someone else. Give yourself the grace that you would give a child, a loved one, someone you care about. Treat yourself like that loved person, like that person that you would want to look out for. Give yourself time and space to work within that change and adjust to that change. Yes, you will get it. Yes, you will thrive. Yes, you will succeed. But no, it might just take you a few minutes. It might take you a little bit of time. And it's okay. It's acceptable. It's not just you that needs a bit of time to adjust to change. People in general, I want to say we all, I try to avoid generalization, but yeah, we kind of all do need a little bit of time to adjust to change. So give yourself some grace. Quick recap. First, accept that it is difficult. It's difficult on humans. It's difficult on most of us, if not all of us. 2, take time to explore, digest, and just adjust to the change. Explore it, get to know the new situation before you start jumping in and attempting to navigate that change. 3, modify and incorporate the things that have worked, because if they've worked in the past, they will probably work again with a little bit of modification and a little bit of adjustment before you can incorporate them. 4, ask for accommodations you may need. Regardless of what the accommodation is, ask. Maybe you'll get them, maybe you won't, but until you've asked, you don't know whether or not it is possible or it is an option. And finally, give yourself some grace. Change is not easy. Most of us, if not all of us, struggle with change. So give yourself time, give yourself the space to adjust and get to know and work within the change. It's not because you have ADHD, it's because you're human, and all of us, all of us struggle with adjusting to change, and we need a little bit of time. As always, if you or someone you know happens to be going through something that is more than you can handle, please remember that there are professionals like myself who are available, able, and willing to help, and are even providing remote services who can assist with whatever you may have going on. So please figure out who those people are in your community so that if you need them, you can reach out and get the help that you need. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.